Hi everybody. This time, without coffee, I've had a bit of a tummy bug, and I'm not on coffee yet. Oh no! It's been that bad. So I'm still drowning kind of lots and lots of water because it's good for me. Hang on. Comments from last time? Awesome. Thank you. When you leave comments, whichever format I'm on, I will get back to you personally to enter in a dialogue, say thanks, and so on. But thank you so much for what came last week. It was lush. I've got some great ideas for food. But anyway, what's popped into my mind for this video? What's popped into my mind for this video is I get anxious. Why do I get anxious? Now, if you're awesomely autistic, you're going to get this. If you're not awesomely autistic, then hopefully this will educate you a bit. Communication and interaction. I stop myself from saying things I might want to say because I've realised they will hurt the feelings of people around me. But that actually makes me anxious. That actually makes me stressed because I can't be me. So I'm like, don't say what I want to say because I don't want to offend the people close to me because that's just wrong. But sometimes I do want to say something because it's blatantly obvious or it should be said. But okay, whatever, I'm anxious. Sometimes an angel's voice is in my head. When the other person decodes it, it's a demon. When I know that without wanting to, without realising, without setting out to, I've offended or hurt somebody, I feel devastated and it makes me anxious. So communication, interaction. Doing things I don't want to do. Doing things I don't want to do because it's expected of me, be it from a person, an individual, cultural, society, whatever. Huge amount of pressure. Eat in a particular way. Yeah, I know. I'm very bad at eating food. Say particular things. Be nice. Kind of a linked example to the one before. And I've said this previously, I know, on another video. I once said to somebody said to me, what do you think of the food? What do you think of the dinner? And I went, it's up to your usual standard. In my head, it was like, God, your usual standard is so cool and so lush and so awesome. It's as awesome and lush as ever. Do you think that's what the person heard? For those of you out there who aren't awesomely autistic, I never meant to sound that rude. I was giving another compliment. Did the other person take it that way? No. Communication, interaction. What was expected of me was to go, wow, this is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. But I did that. So now if somebody says to me, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? I have one thought go through my head. I process it. I decode it. I rearrange it. I turn it into something that is socially acceptable. And I say it. That whole process shatters me, actually. So if I'm with a group of individuals all day long, and I have to do that for almost every interaction, God, I've got a headache. God, I'm tired. God, I need time on my own. So, yeah, communication, interaction, cultural expectations, personal expectations. They're difficult. They make me stressed. The sensory stuff, and I've talked about it before, loud, sudden noises. It's like a bomb going off next to me. I feel sick. I feel anxious. To everybody else, it's a door closing. It's a cupboard door closing. It's a washing machine going on spin. It's somebody bursting into the room and going, ba-da! It frightens the heebie-jeebies out of me. I may well sit there looking calm and collected and awesome, but I'm not inside. I'm anxious. I'm stressed. I'm frightened. I'm scared. So there are triggers that get my awesome autistic brain in a whir. Some of them are external triggers, obviously. Some of them are pressure triggers in terms of what society expects me to do and say. Some of them are sensory triggers. Just stuff being loud, stuff smelling too strong. All that can really get to me. So, kind of done a bit about triggers, the things that make me really anxious and scared and frightened and... What do I do? Well, this is where my routines come into play. This is where I like my shirts ordered in a previous video that you saw. This is where I like going around the lake in a particular way. This is why I like going back to the same lake, so on and so forth. What I've begun to realise more and more and more since last year, I've got to listen to myself. And that's harder said than done. I've got to listen to when I recognise my anxiety levels. How do I recognise it? Bite my nails more. I get headachy. I get stressed. I get ratty. I get the feeling of I need to get out of here. Now, what's happened of late, Christmas was one. Too much stuff happened. A lot of, as you've heard on other videos, complex stuff happened last year as well as this terrible pandemic. And I just couldn't hack it anymore. And I just started shutting down for various aspects of my life just to regroup in my brain and recharge. So for all of us who are awesomely autistic, there are external things and external us that get us stressed and get us anxious. And for so many people out there, when we open our gobs, we do not mean to be rude. I do not mean to be rude to the people closest to me. It's just how it says. But if I have to conform then to a particular way of talking and interacting and eating and so on and so forth, there's an internal cost. I don't think I was aware of that internal cost before, but now I am. Or rather, I'm getting more aware of it. So today's video is all about really saying to neurotypicals that, look, yeah, I may well be cool, awesome, fantastic, superb. It may not be what's going through my head. And if I am fitting in certain events and certain times and places and so on and so forth, I'm actually paying an internal price. And that's stress and anxiety and fear. And if that mounts up, I'm in trouble. So what I'm learning to do now, as ever, I love what you do, ideas and thoughts. I'm realizing signs of when I'm anxious and when I'm stressed, what I do, what I say, certain activities. And then there's almost my automatic kind of routines and things that I do to keep me calm and modulated that I wasn't really aware of before. Did I say modulated? Modulated. But now I'm having to be really, really conscious. Really conscious of making sure I do things. Of late, yoga. Yeah, I know, I'm getting on a bit, so being supple is good for me. I'm not the sportsman I used to be. So getting supple is good for me, and I'm finding that routine every morning is working. That routine is really helping me out. Meditation, I'm finding that's really helping me as well. I've downloaded some apps. Hey, there's apps for everything. And so I'm following those, and that's helping me regulate myself to a certain extent. But what's helping me even more so is recognizing, and that's harder for me. What about you? That's harder for me than I thought it would be. I'm having to recognize the signs. I made a list on my phone. I'm pointing there because that's where my phone is. I made a list on there, which is, this is what I know makes me anxious. This is what the signs are that it's getting too much for me. And this is what I do. I may have done that for loads of people over the years, but I've never done it for me. But I'm recognizing that if I don't do awesome, great personal self-care, if I don't do awesome self-regulation, I'm in trouble. And that's what Christmas taught me. And I'm realizing that I can do things. I can say things and fit in and be awesome and be superb. But I never realized this 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years ago. Now I know there's a price. And that price might not happen within, a day or a week or a month, but they accumulate. And I'd realized looking back at my life, there were several times where I just shut down, took myself away from people and couldn't interact. Many years ago, back in my very early 20s, I think people used to call me the hermit. So I'd come out and they'd never seen me for months. This is going back a long time ago. But I was always known as somebody who was, out there and partying and whatever. But sometimes I just couldn't exist. I just couldn't do it. I'd shut myself away from people consciously. People would knock on the door and I'd be there. But I was too overloaded and couldn't go out. Now I know, I'm learning the signs. So there you go. I'm awesomely autistic. Things get to me. Triggers that raise my anxiety and make me very, very stressed. And I'm only suddenly beginning to be aware of that. A lot of those anxieties are sensory-based. God, yeah. Motorbike whizzing up the road. Ooh, I'm done for. I was saying to someone today about sudden noises and so on. I've now got to the point where I'll stick my fingers in my ears. I don't care if people look. I just can't stand the noise, and it helps. So it reduces my anxiety. Cultural and social expectations of how I should be and how I should behave. Yeah, God, they are terrible, actually. They, I think, are the most devastating. When I look at kids in school, the expectation levels they have to sit a certain way, to look a teacher in the eyes, to eat every time at the same time, a particular meal they may hate and dislike, to be told to do this, and this. You can't move, you shouldn't fidget, you shouldn't play with that, so on and so forth. Look at me when I'm talking to you. The stress is incredible. And they certainly pay a price for that. I've grown on a bit, and I'm realising that certain aspects of my life and my culture and where I live do put stress upon me. But now I'm having to be very, very conscious of what makes me stressed and anxious and take positive action. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be stressed and anxious. What I have to do, though, is to communicate why to those people around me. Because if people don't understand why, then they're going to think, what's going on here? Is he really that rude? Is he really that like, bleh? And once you communicate why, and people understand, then don't people understand more about neurodiversity and the awesome autistic brain? It's a win-win scenario, yeah? So yeah, another short one tonight. Thank you for watching as ever. Anxiety, stress levels. As an awesome autistic individual, I'm having to realise what makes me anxious, what I can do about it, and making sure I do something about it to keep my overall level of anxiety low. But I'm also realising an awful lot of those stresses are from society and from expectation levels and how other people they've been taught how things should be, etc. and so on. So thank you. I'd love to know what your triggers might be if you're okay with that, but I'd love to know what you do to regulate and to calm. I'd also like to know, how you internally have that sense, because that's beginning to mean a lot to me. And I've spoken to some people already. I'm learning from them, which is really important. And I think that the more I share who I am with those people close to me, the more stress is actually reduced for everybody, which is gorgeous. So as ever, stay safe and take care. Be lush, be awesome, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.